Assalamu alaikum and a very warm welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Aniqa Nisar. We are going to talk about a very important topic today. A topic that requires international attention. And if it doesn't get international attention, then we might be giving birth to another Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler, who was ignored when he was segregating the Jews, who was ignored when he was closing their shops down, who was ignored when he was putting the Jews ultimately into concentration camps and killing them. The world thought that the hegemonic plans of Adolf Hitler weren't that serious. It's not going to affect them. Somehow the other is going to stay within Germany. But it happened. And Adolf Hitler tried to spread his tentacles throughout Europe and ultimately became a threat to the world. The same thing is happening with Narendra Modi, but everybody is ignoring it. Why is everybody ignoring it is a big question at this point in time. And why do I bring it up today? I bring it up because the country that calls itself secular, the country that calls itself the biggest democracy in the world, the country that calls itself a peaceful country and puts up a face of a peaceful country has another facade to it, has another facet to it. And that facet is the actual face of this country. I'm talking about India. We, at this point in time, are seeing another Adolf Hitler, Nazi sort of a country, Nazi sort of a regime taking birth. Actually has already taken birth because the international organizations at this point in time are warning the international community that genocide of Muslims is on its way. And in Kashmir, it's already happening. We know that Genocide Watch has already issued a warning. But at this point, today, I'm going to talk about this topic because another terrorist incident that happened in Pakistan in 2021 has been linked with BJP, has been linked with India, has been linked with the state of India. And why do I say that? Today, the Interior Minister and the AIG of Counterterrorism Department of Pakistan held a press briefing. In that press briefing, they showed what India actually did. So we've got a dossier over here. This dossier is about the involvement of India in terrorist activities in Pakistan. And this is not the first time that this is happening because Kulbhushan Yadav is a standing, walking, sitting, alive evidence of Indian involvement in terrorism in Pakistan. So there is no denial to it. Kulbhushan Yadav, who was a serving naval officer, has already admitted to all his crimes, all his evil actions that he and his team, of course, took place in Pakistan. At this point in time, we have the dossier. I'll read a bit of it to you. It says, in a deadly terrorist attack in a peaceful neighborhood of Lahore, Pakistan, on 23rd June 2021, 3 innocent people lost their lives and over 24 were critically injured. The law enforcement agencies immediately launched an investigation that led to the terrorist who had used a vehicle-borne improvised explosive device for the blast. A deeper investigation led the law enforcement agencies to a network of facilitators, financiers, and abettors, and ultimately masterminds of the deadly attack. The first layer of the 5 terrorists were convicted by the Anti-Terrorism Court on the 12th of January 2022. The international terrorist network unearthed by the LEAs revealed that the facilitators, abettors, and financiers of the terrorist incident had used various regional and Middle Eastern countries to plan and execute the terrorist attack. The mastermind of Johor Town terrorist attack were finally identified and traced to be from India. RAW, an Indian agency, is definitely involved in almost every terrorist activity that takes place in Pakistan. They're also trying to obviously heat up the western border of Pakistan. I'll show you and I'll read the point where it tells how much amount of money was given to the people that were asked to attack or conduct this attack. It says, the incontrovertible evidence in the dossier demonstrates that a RAW has been involved in planning, supporting, financing, abetting terrorist activities in Pakistan and the region using territory of several countries detailed in this dossier. The vast sum of money, US dollars 875,000 used by India for the Johor Town incident is also a reflection that the extent of the resources deployed by the Indian states in its terrorism project against Pakistan. So the amount 875,000 US dollars on one terrorist activity given by India shows that India is ready to spend a heavy amount to conduct terrorist activities in Pakistan. And why is that so? Because India wants the world to see and to portray Pakistan as an unsafe, insecure country so that any and every investment that comes to Pakistan goes towards India instead of going towards Pakistan, so that they can fail the project of CPEC that is going to connect the north and the south and obviously the west and the east, so that they can also divide Pakistan into many pieces, that they have a plan, the hegemonic plan that I was equating with the Nazi era, Adolf Hitler's plan. That is what India wants at this point in time. I'll also show you the people that were involved. So there were many Indian nationals that were involved in it. The list will also be shown on the screen. The first one is Bablu Srivastava, whose alias is Yunus Bhai. He's an Indian criminal mafia member. He has been operating from Bareilly, India. He was the frontman of Raw's terror financing and facilitation network in various cities and countries, including Pakistan. He's also running extortion and kidnapping for ransom network in India under the patronage of Raw. The second person is Sanjay Kumar Tiwari. He is a Raw operator. He's a supervisor of Bablu's terrorist activities and network. He operated from UAE. He is also linked with Aslam Khan. Now let's go to Aslam Khan. His cover name, actually, it's not a real name. This is a cover name. He is a Raw agent. He has organized many terrorist activities. He is the organizer of terrorist network that is headed by Bablu Srivastava and Samiul Haq. Next comes Sahim Sheikh. This person is based in Middle Eastern country. He was operating as a recruiter of Pakistani nationals in the Middle Eastern country. He's also been involved in terror financing and gold smuggling. He's clearly a Raw agent. Zahim Sheikh is also a Raw agent. This person assisted his brother Sahim Sheikh, the one that I was talking about previously, in all the activities that led to terrorist attacks. Then comes Wasim Haider. He's a Raw operator. He is Sanjay Tiwari's assistant. He is the handler of Samiul Haq from the Raw side. We'll go towards people that India sponsored that are Bahraini nationals but of Indian origin. This person is Ali Budesh. He's an Indian mafia member involved in kidnapping for ransom and extortion. He's running Raw's gold smuggling and a network in the Middle East. He's also assisted by, he has assisted Bablu Srivastava in terrorist activities, different terrorist activities. Then comes Indian-sponsored Bahraini nationals of Pakistani origin that belong to Pakistan but actually are in Bahrain. They're of Pakistani origin though. Ishfaq Ahmad, he assisted Ali Budesh in his gold smuggling network in the Middle Eastern country. He's also involved in Raw operations of terrorist activities. Then comes Ajmal, who's a Canadian national of Afghan origin. He's a Raw agent in a Middle Eastern country as well. Then Indian-sponsored Afghani nationals, obviously we're already talking about that. This person was a Raw agent since 2012. Then comes Uzair Akbar. He's the brother-in-law of Samiul Haq. He's assisted Samiul Haq in terror financing, also facilitated terrorist activities personally. And the next person that I'm going to talk about is Ziaul Haq. The list is so long. This person is brother of Samiul Haq. He has assisted Samiul Haq in terror financing as well as facilitation of terrorist activities. Then we'll go towards Eid Gul. Eid Gul is a person who was the head of execution group that executed this entire terrorist activity. This person has been manufacturing IEDs, the assembly and everything. He's an expert at that. This is the guy that headed the entire group that did a bomb blast, a terrorist activity in Lahore, Pakistan in 2021. Earlier, he remained involved in F10 Islamabad 2018 and Township Lahore incident 2019 and different terrorist activities. He was awarded death sentence by the anti-terrorist court in Lahore. His wife is also involved in this heinous and despicable action. Aisha Gul, she was basically the wife of Eid Gul. She abetted her husband in explosive manufacturing. Also, she was involved in the Johor Town incident. She was awarded 5 years imprisonment by the anti-terrorism court, which I think personally is very less. She should also be given a death sentence. Indian-sponsored Pakistani nationals have been Naveed Akhtar. He was basically cultivated by Sahim Sheikh for Raw in a jail in Middle Eastern country. And these are the sort of people, petty crime committers, petty criminals, and as well as people who have a knack for crime. These are the sort of people that India tries to recruit. Their agency recruits. Then comes Peter Paul David. He was the supervisor of Johor Town terrorist attack. He operated under Ali Budesh and Bablu Shrivastava, which I talked about earlier. And he had obviously was involved in many other crimes to collect the money for basic activity of terrorism. Sajjad Hussain, assisted by Peter Paul in the execution of Johor Town incident in Lahore. He was also basically awarded death sentence by the ATC, just like Peter Paul was awarded death sentence in the ATC. Now, I'm showing you a picture of this entire network, and it's so intertwined. It is so complex that RAW did everything to cover this up. But the international community needs to hear that the facade that India puts up of a democracy is sham. India is a sham democracy. India is a dangerous place for Muslims and minorities overall. India has been involved in radioactive theft. India is definitely a sort of country that has been interfering and meddling into other countries' issues. For example, Pakistan's issues in the 70s, which obviously have been accepted by the sitting Prime Minister of India as well. Plus, India is such an irresponsible country that they fired the BrahMos missile. They tried to attack, they tried to invade into Pakistani territories, air territories, which they were taught a lesson of. India has also been misleading the world. Please listen to the international organizations that are pointing towards India, that are telling us clearly that the genocide of minorities is happening in India, and which are clearly telling us that India is involved in the international criminal networks. And not just India or some citizens of India, but the state level is involved in these sort of activities. India also tried to keep Pakistan into the grey list and take it towards the blacklist, which obviously was unsuccessful. India has also been trying to sabotage Pakistan's activities towards economic stability. India has also been involved in Balochistan's terrorist activity, any activity that takes place in Pakistan. Now we for sure know that the terrorism activities are definitely being funded from India. International community needs to wake up as well before another Adolf Hitler, before another Nazi era begins. Thank you very much for listening. Aniqa Nisar signing off.